What's up everyone, Talon from the Airsoft headquarters here, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a 2-for-1 video, a twofer for some of you people that are local. So what we're doing is we're dropping two videos about the Sionyx, one about a review of the Sionyx cameras from myself specifically, and then we're going to be doing this one, which is going to be about the type of gear that we, myself, Brady, and James are utilizing in the B-roll footage that you would have saw in the review video. So we're going to start off with myself. I have two different arms when it comes to what I mount the Sionyx and the bridge onto. So this is going to be a FMA Norotos style of arm. This one was about $100. I only used it 30 to 50 times. So fairly low as far as number. This had gotten extremely loose and started falling apart on me. So I decided this is not going to cut it for me. So ended up going with a Wilcox L4 G24, if I remember correctly. And this one was just an Amazon product. Don't know who the original and manufacturer is, but it was both of these bridges, or these arms, excuse me, were about $100. For the bridge, I am currently using the Colume polymer bridge system. That currently only works with the FMA Norotos, just based on sizing and dimensions. I will need to get the Sotac bridge that it is available on eBay. So I will be getting a different bridge, and I will be utilizing that, obviously using the Sionyx Aurora Sport. I am using the crash hat and the top hat, if memory serves me correctly, both for a rear viewfinder protection and a protective front lens as well. I just went with clear as something that's going to be a little different compared to the other guys, so we can have a good compare and contrast. Plus, for me, utilizing the viewfinder before purchasing the crash hat, I personally did not have, no, crash hat and Aspis. There we go, just came back to me. Utilizing this with just the basic viewfinder, using this guy right here before getting the plexiglass on there. The eye strain wasn't terrible for me. It was something that I got accustomed to fairly quickly, but it does come with the experience of utilizing this camera system as well, and just getting the brain used to using this type of system and this setup. Like I said, got the crash hat on there as far as the plexiglass protection. Not a whole lot of protection from the sides, and still keep it the original white. I have these systems mounted currently on a PTS FLUX helmet, similar to what would be coming as far as a basic helmet system from Team Wendy. I am running a remote battery pack to the very back here, using the Anker brand of battery pack. This is currently the most current of generation of the Anker battery pack, so I'll show you what that looks like. These just came out only last week. This is the newest one, and it fits directly into the back of this this counterweight pouch here, so it fits in really, really nicely. I do have two of the PTS Unity Spark nighttime illuminators. One is going to be infrared, the other is going to be a deadlight visible. So if I can turn that on. So blinking red, off, solid red, blinking red, and then off again. So I got that mounted right there. This one is purely for infrared. Infrared, you guys are not gonna be able to see it, but I promise it does work in both solid and strobe. This, I have another visible and infrared lighting system here. This is the Nightcore. I talked about this before. This is going to be a rechargeable battery, infrared and visible light system. So this currently is going to be the infrared model. If I go between the settings, it does go over to a green visible light, strobe and solid on. The fact that these are rechargeable is absolutely amazing. That means I don't have to spend $17 per spark, or even the 10 to 15 for a basic tea light. This is just rechargeable. It is awesome. And they make these in a couple different models as well. So I got this guy. I'll be showcasing this a little bit further. And then I have a fanny light off of eBay for, I think, 15 or 20 bucks, and then have a M-LOK offset rail adapter to go to the very back part of the helmet here to keep everything lower profile as much as possible, so I can get a umbrella light, which we'll be showcasing as well. I am running some infrared flashlight and infrared lasers on all of my rifles, or not all of my rifles, but the ones that I showcase in the B-roll, I'm using infrared lights, so you guys can see those in use. That is currently what I have here. I have used this camera a couple dozen of times. I have done just only half a dozen of actual hardcore recordings using this in a tactical situation. I've gone geocaching with this, I think, half a dozen times as well, and I've just utilized it around the house and in the warehouse here plenty of times, just putzing around for an hour, hour and a half, stuff like that, while we're bored and waiting for work to come around. So that's currently what we have as of right now for my personal setup. Once we do get some more accessories for infrared airsoft action, then we'll be able to sit down and have a whole nother conversation about a video. That's what I have, so we're going to kick it over to James.
Hi, my name's James. I've had my Sionyx Aurora setup for almost 2 years now. Two things I like about it. One, obviously, it lets you see in the dark for a very low cost. There's definitely value to that. Two, it lets you see in color, and who doesn't like that? I've seen through analog tubes before. The green is cool. The color definitely adds another element where there's depth perception, identifies certain things that you may have issues identifying otherwise. If it gets really dark, you can definitely turn it to grayscale. That's the most sensitive mode. I use that a little bit, but for the most part, leave it in color. So something I like to point out is that these aren't your traditional night vision device. They actually aren't designed as a night vision device at all. These are a camera. However, in limited capabilities, you can, in fact, use these to see in the dark. Mind you, they're not night vision. However, you can use them to see in the dark. That's how I use them. Am I going to bet my life on them? No. Am I going to defend my country with them? No. Am I going to protect my home? No. I'm not going to risk my life using these. However, I will use them to have lots and lots and lots of fun. They are useful. They're fun to take camping. They're fun to take normal photos with. They're fun to play airsoft with. I've even seen some friends use them real steel shooting. So one con, and it's not necessarily a complaint, is that these are, as previously mentioned, cameras. It's designed as a camera. Using them for airsoft, using them just to see in the dark when I go camping or hiking, I don't necessarily need the filming feature. I don't need to take photos. However, yes, it's a cool feature. Have I used it? Lots. However, if you're just looking to airsoft with these, if you're just looking to use these to see in the dark, the technology's getting close. It's not almost there, but it's close. I feel if a lot of these features were stripped down, if it was just turned into the see in the dark device that it could be, you could do away with a lot of the weight. If you used an external battery pack, which so many of us that use these already do, that's even more of the size, more of the weight that you can take away. I feel that Sionyx could definitely shrink this down into a user-friendly package that is definitely more or less of a tactical instrument or a tool. Again, not night vision per se, but still able to see in the dark. So as you can see, I'm using two separate Sionyx Aurora cameras. They're both the sport model. I feel like there's the most value with the sport. It allows you to see in the dark for the least amount. The black is about the same, has about the same capabilities as does the original. The Pro obviously has the most performance. However, I'm not looking to spend $1,000 or so per camera on a setup where I just want to see in the dark for very cheap to just have fun. Like I said before, I'm not trying to protect my life or defend my home, do anything like that with it. I just want to have fun. And you're more than capable of having fun with the sports. So, got two Sionyx Sports side by side on a Sotac bridge. This is a Wilcox style articulating bridge. It allows both of the cameras to pivot off to the side, which can keep the weight closer to your brain when you're not flipping these down over your eyes. Makes it a little bit more comfortable. Also makes the controls a little bit more accessible as well. Like I said, they articulate back and forth. Very nifty. On the helmet, the arm is also of Wilcox style. It is a Sotac Wilcox arm. I think it's an L4 G19, if I remember correctly. Lots of numbers, lots of letters, but it's a Wilcox style arm that attaches directly to the helmet. There's no quick disconnect or removal feature. It's just bolted onto the shroud on the helmet itself. It's the DevGru style that has become ever so popular in previous years. So fits the motif of the helmet. On the back, I have an Anker. I believe it's an Anker brand. I got it on Amazon. It has a smart trickle charging feature, which is nice when you have it connected to both of the cameras. It can keep them charged and charging as you're using them. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what the capacity is, but I've heard of certain individuals that use this almost identical setup. They can go for sometimes 4 to 6 hours. That's without recording. With recording, I think you're gonna get closer to like 3.5, 4 hours with this. The cables themselves, it's another little nifty thing that I found. Again, this is mostly through recommendation on Facebook groups and other online forums. There's lots of information on these things out there to be found, so I highly recommend that you do your research before you get into this. But the cables, obviously they're USB cables, but on the charging end that attaches to the camera, it has a special fitting that allows them to be attached in either direction, upside down, right side up, backwards, forwards. It'll fit no matter how you put them into the female slot. The helmet itself is just your basic FMA maritime. Got it dipped by ICI here in my home state of Wisconsin. They do fantastic work there. But yeah, other than that, there's not much that you need. A weapon light that has an infrared feature, it's recommended. Do you need it? No, but in the extremely dark environments and situations that you might find yourself in playing an action sport such as Airsoft, highly recommended. The cameras can see in the dark, however, they will shine when you use even the slightest amount of infrared. I do have a light on my helmet. It does have an infrared feature, however, it doesn't really put out enough light for these things to shine in their own way. But it's basically just there for me to read maps and stuff if I don't need these. So as you can see, these are the Sports, however, they don't look like R2-D2. They are not blue, they are not white, they don't stand out, they are flat black. I did paint them. I used about a can of flat black Rust-Oleum Krylon, I can't remember what I used, but it's a flat black camo spray paint. And I covered it very generously. I did not mask off the microphone holes as some have. The microphones still work perfectly. Obviously you don't want to spray it inside there on purpose, but at a good distance of about a foot or so, if you know how to spray paint, that's what you should be doing anyway. That's how I painted these. I took my time, I masked off obviously the front and rear lenses, and I think I also masked off the charging ports just a little bit so the paint didn't get inside. But otherwise, there's a lot of paint on here and it is wearing very nicely. On the front, I have the Lions Gear Solution Aspis. It is a protection lens. It's got some thick Lexan that prevents BBs from striking and destroying your camera lens on the front. So on the back lens, part that you see through, I have the Lions Gear Solution top hats, and I chose the amber lens just because I think that it offers a nicer image. It takes a little bit of the eye strain out, and as previously mentioned, similar to the front, also has a Lexan covering to it. So if I have these flipped up like this, and I'm not using these, say I'm in a hallway or something in between dark areas, and a stray BB comes in and it strikes this, I don't have to worry about my camera broken. Edit that out.
Hey, it's Brady. I've had my Sionyx here for a little over 1 year. We'll call it a year and a month, year and 2 months, something like that. For it, I've got it set up on a PTS MTEK FLUX helmet, particularly the black one. On there, I've got it mounted on the Sotac Wilcox dual bridge. It's a dual bridge, so you could put two on here. I like it just because it has a lot more adjustment to it than some of these straight bridges or these straight mounts. I then have it mounted on an FMA Norotos AKA-2 style mount. Of course, we've got the bungee cords mounted on there. On the unit itself, this has the crash hat and the Aspis lens protectors on there. These guys are from rockybrass.com. On the crash hat, I have particularly the amber lens on there, which this guy is supposed to help keep eye fatigue from happening just from staring at the lens in the dark or the bright screen. And of course it is painted black so that it matches everything a little bit better. On the right side of the helmet, I have mounted a Night Evolution Princeton Tech style IR and visible light, as well as a, let me see here a little bit, a T-light in red as a dead light. Then this is the PTS Unity Spark marker in IR as a strobe. On the back left side, I have the IR umbrella light, which is a FandyFire, I forget the exact model, but a FandyFire IR light in an O-light mount on a M-lock rail section. This is to give it an umbrella, so if I'm indoors, it splashes IR light all around and gives me a large illumination area. On the back, I have a counterweight pouch with my battery pack for charging the units. And last thing is an IR reflective flag on here. So 2 things about this that I've really liked. First thing being the fact that unlike actual analog units, it is not affected by bright light. So if I go into a room and lights come on, or somebody flashes a bright visible flashlight at me, or whatever, anything like that, it is a camera. So it auto gates, it reacts to it. It, goes into less IR and more visible light mode and adjusts. It doesn't damage it, it doesn't break it. So my investment into it is not going to be thrown away by a $50 LED flashlight. The second thing is that it records. Unlike analog units, if I want to record with that, I would have to get an adapter to mount a GoPro or other camera mounted to it and have a separate camera. This is built in. I turn it on, I'm using it as night vision, I want to record, I hit a little button, it's recording. I don't want it to record, I hit it, it stops. That's simple. I don't have to mount anything, I don't have to worry about separate stuff. It's really simple. Downside to this unit I have found is that because it is digital versus analog, it's a little more complicated. There's settings to it, there's frame rate, there's pixels, there's HDR, there's a whole bunch of things that you have to mess with to find what works best with it. It is a good thing, but at the same time, you have to set up different situationally, and it's not something where I just hit one button and it switches modes. I have to go through and cycle all the settings, which is not exactly something you can do on the fly very easily, but it does make it a little more adaptable in some ways. But overall, fantastic unit. I've been having a lot of fun with it. All right, guys, if you have any further questions, go ahead, post them down in the comments section. We will answer them to the best of our ability. And stay posted for more Sionyx videos. Those will be coming. You guys have a good one. Stay safe, stay positive, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.